Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Bryan Cooper Show. I am your host. Excited to be with you here today. A few years ago, I had a friend of mine that said, Bryan, you should do a podcast. And I pushed it off because I thought, you know what, there's so many other people that do an amazing job in this space already. Is there enough room for me? And then I realized, you know what, I kind of go against my own teaching when I talk about this. There's always space for you to accomplish your goal. There's space for me to step into the podcast world. And so we just need to use the Nike adage, just do it. Go after it and don't hold back. But 97% of people that try a New Year's resolution are going to fail within a very short period of time. And that to me is super sad, especially with the vast, immense creative potential that all humans possess. Everybody should be able to accomplish a New Year's resolution, but we're not. But what if you could find a formula that could change all that? I was searching for this years ago, kind of like Indiana Jones, looking for the Holy Grail, and I found it. And what it is an ancient 2,000-year-old formula hiding in plain sight. And I'm going to share it with the world. It is my life's work. It's called the 490 formula that I'm going to share in this episode. So hang tight, buckle up, get ready to figure out something that maybe could be the missing link to your goal achievement. Maybe you've wanted to do something your whole life and you haven't been able to do it. Maybe you've accomplished great things and you'd like to accomplish more, but you seem like you've hit a plateau. Plateaus, they're meant to be crushed. We're meant to work through those. We can't accept them as our reality. So we need something that's going to give us the momentum, a tool that we can use to make decisions in our life that will transform us in ways that we never thought possible. I use this formula for me, my wife, and now hundreds and thousands of other people that are using this to make significant changes in our life. And I'm excited to share it with you. It's time. It's here. It's now on episode 1 of the Bryan Cooper Show. So let's get into it. I am from a family of 9 siblings. My dad was an entrepreneur. He had businesses, and I learned how to run some of these businesses. And I'm really grateful for what I learned because I think it gave me a base for doing what I'm doing today. But the problem with it was I didn't find any fulfillment in what I was doing. I didn't like painting. And part of that was that I didn't like myself. I really struggled with my self-image. I didn't like who I was, and I struggled with negative thoughts, just constantly thinking the worst of a situation. And it doesn't help you in life when you're thinking worst case scenario. We got to start thinking best case scenario. That's the way to do it. But I was stuck in this negative cycle. And so it seems like it just keeps building and building. And for years it did. I just kind of slipped further and further into depression. And even though on the outside, my life looked pretty good. I have a wife, Amanda Rose Cooper. She's amazing. I have 4 kids, Haley, Nathan, Hannah, and Hope. And they're really my life. I love them so much, and everything that I do is for them, including this podcast, including the book that I've written, including why I get up in the morning. And at that time, though, when I was struggling with who I was and my job, I wasn't present for them in a way that I should be. I wasn't my best self. And it got to the point to where I just felt like, you know what? I don't even know if I want to be here. I struggled with thoughts of massive depression, suicide, and it came to the point where I figured out that my life insurance policy was of more benefit to my family, which was an absolute lie, but I believed it to be true at the time. And I thought about just ending it. One night late, drive my truck as fast as it would go, unbuckle the seatbelt, and go right into a cement barrier. Hopefully that would end it, stop the pain. But in that moment, I caught a glimpse of my youngest daughter. An image of her beautiful face just flashed in my mind. She was a year old, and I kind of shook myself out of it. And I got home, and I just sat in the dark garage. I hadn't seen my kids in a week. When I left for work, they were in bed, and when I got home, they were already in bed. And so I missed the highlight of my week, which was seeing the kids. And I got home, and I walked in. It was kind of dark, and I bent down to tie my shoe. And I looked up, and around the corner came this little girl. She walked up to me and just said, "Hi, Daddy." And she learned how to walk that week when I was gone. I hadn't seen her in a week. And then when I left her, she actually was just learning how to stand. But in my absence, she learned how to walk and she came right to me. And that was the daughter that I just saw flash in front of my eyes. And there's no coincidences. Her name is Hope. And it gave me a little bit of hope that maybe I could change. And right then and there, I committed to finding the answers to breaking free from the prison. I had to find the key. And I asked God, just give me something to hold on to. Let me find the answers to break free from this mental prison so I can be a better dad, so I can be a better business owner. And it led me on an amazing path of personal development that I am so grateful for because it's transformed my life. It's transforming the lives of thousands of people that are using these principles. And I just want to pass them on to you, pass them on to the world, because I believe that we can all change. We can all help get out of like terrible situations that are making us feel like we're not worth very much. So continuing on with my story, I wanted to know how to change, but sometimes the answers don't come to you. You have to just keep actively thinking about it, and eventually whatever you're seeking, you're going to find. And I knew that enough from just reading it in the Bible, but answers don't come to us as fast as we'd like. So I just kept showing up every single day, and something interesting happened. One of my kids, my son, he got really sick, and we were looking for some health solutions, and we're searching and searching for answers to what was going on, and the doctors had no answers. And we came across a company that was selling some products, health products, that we tried, and it made all the difference in the world. And it changed our son's physical health. And we were like, you know what, that's amazing. And there's actually a business attached to this. So why not keep going and sharing our story of how it helped and help other people and create an income? And we just decided to do a whole nother business and get really good at it. And from that, we went to our company's convention. I came across some speakers that I felt like it's just so different. It's something I've never heard before. Even growing up in church, I've never heard this type of motivational material. So I went home and I decided I'm going to look up on YouTube motivational speakers. Didn't know any at the time. And so I just committed to listening to something every single day. What I came across blew my mind. It was Earl Nightingale's Strangest Secret recording. You've got to check it out. It's amazing. 30-some minutes of some of the best knowledge you could ever hear. And when I heard it, I literally dropped my paintbrush to the ground and I sat down and I listened to it. And I decided to listen to this over and over and over again. And the premise of it is this: it's just that we become what we think about most of the time. Whatever thought that we plant, we're going to reap a harvest from that thought. If we plant negative thoughts, we'll reap the harvest from negativity. If we plant positive thoughts, we'll reap a harvest of positivity. And I realized I was planting negative all the time. And this is why I'm feeling the way I felt. I still didn't know how to change my circumstance, but that's kind of the nuts and bolts of it. And I realized, I just need to keep listening to stuff. So maybe I'll find the answers to breaking free from this prison. Maybe I can get out of this. Maybe we could, have some massive success in this industry where I feel like the people at the top, they win the lottery because they're so successful and they're millionaires. And, it just seems like that's so far away. And I don't even know if that's possible. And all these thoughts that are rolling around in my mind. But what I came across is, do you know that there are two ways to change? Basically, that's what it boils down to. The only way we change is through two different processes. One is an emotional impact, something that shocks us to our core to where we will never go back to that situation because of the trauma or the magnitude of that situation. That's one way. Or there's the better way, the more common way that we can all use, and it's just based off of repetition. Repetition of the right information over an extended period of time will cause us to change. So those are the two ways. And I learned this from listening to Bob Proctor, and he talked about paradigms. Paradigms are a mental program that have almost exclusive control over our habitual behavior. And almost all of our behavior is habitual. So if we want to change our life, we have to change a habit. And paradigms are just a bunch of habits that are in our subconscious mind that literally run our day. It runs our life. Everything that we have around us, Our income level, our health, our wellness, all the things are a 3D printout of what's going on in your subconscious mind. That's your paradigm. And when I heard about this, I was like, this is why I'm getting the effects of my life. It's because I have a program that's producing this. I didn't know how to change it. Yeah, I was listening to things that was starting to change my environment. And so I felt like I was changing a little bit. But I wanted to know, how do you change significantly? How do you make huge shifts? And I heard this from Albert Einstein. Many of you may be aware of it, but it's the statement, everything is energy. And that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality that you want, and you can't help but get that reality. And then Bob Proctor talked about, you got to get on the frequency of the good that you desire. He was saying the same thing. And I'm like, well, how do you get on the frequency of the good that you desire? Well, again, we talked about repetition, and there's some other methods that I'm going to share with you. But I began searching for the most efficient way to connect to the energy of your goal so you can become the person that can accomplish it. And so I just was looking for the answers, kind of like Indiana Jones looking for the Holy Grail. I knew that repetition was important. Along the way, I discovered visualization is super important. Auto-suggestion is super important. And there was just this missing piece. And I said, what is that missing piece? I'm going to find it. I want to know if repetition is the way that we change, how many reps? It kind of posed the question, how many times should you do something before you form a new neural connection in the brain? So your subconscious mind can pick up on the fact that this is the program to run. I was searching for the answers, and I found them because I was looking for it. And it came by the way of a seminar that I was listening to about Bob Proctor. It was about forgiveness from Bob Proctor. And he was talking about how, we think of forgiveness a little bit differently than we should. Sometimes we think that, if somebody does wrong to us, we should, say, I'm sorry, or offer forgiveness. And then, or if somebody did wrong to us, we say, I forgive you, but it doesn't go beyond that. It's just words. And it's kind of empty because when we think about that person later on, it's usually a negative thought. Like, I can't stand that person. Yeah, they hurt me. I forgave them, but whatever. And we move on. Well, that's not good enough. If you really want true forgiveness in your life, you have to abandon the hurt. You have to let go of it completely. And that's the only way you're going to find freedom. And he's all about personal development. And he said, you got to forgive the past. Everything that's in your past is in your past. If you hold on to the energy of your past, you're just making sure that your future is going to be the same because you carry that same energy with you. And remember, everything is energy. And I'm like, yeah, I thought about forgiveness all wrong. I know that there's people I haven't forgiven, and I still get frustrated when I think about them. So you need to apply this method. But the forgiveness formula that he was talking about was from the Bible. And it was the disciples asking Jesus, how many times should we forgive them according to the laws of the day? And in their time, it was forgive 3 times. Okay. Jesus said, no, it's not 3 times. It's 70 times 7. And when he said it, I don't know if it was how he said it, but it hit me differently because I knew mathematically that 70 times 7 is 490 times. And then when I thought that thought, I was like, oh my word. I think there's something to this because I had been studying so many people in the personal development space. I found that people would say, okay, I feel like I had to do something about 500 times before it became a part of who I was. Like I had to practice a speech, and I think I did it 500 times, and it became a part of me. And I was like, that is no coincidence, because there are no coincidences. I thought that, you know what? I think there could be something to this. 490 times is about 500 times. So many people in the space are saying they had to do it. What if that's the reps? The amount of times you need to do something to connect energetically with your goal, which is the missing link to success. The 92% of people that fail a New Year's resolution is because they missed this piece. They're not connected to the energy of your goal. So your goal is right here, and they have a frequency here, and so they try it, and it just misses. The 490 transformation teaches you how to actually send the right frequency. So the law of constructive interference says that any 2 frequencies of the equal wavelength, when they meet, the size of the frequency doubles. There's science that backs this whole research, which is in my book that's coming out. So buy it, get more information on this than what I can have time to talk to on this episode. But anyway, I thought maybe this is it. What if we start writing down our goals this way? We knew that you have to write down your goals. Every goal should be written down. You are 50 to 60% more likely achieving your goal if you write it down one time. What if we do it 490 times, breaking it up over a 70-day period? So you have to put it to the test, right? So my wife and I, we would write down our goals 7 times a day for 70 days. We would log it in a notebook, in a journal, and something unique happened. When we got to day 70, it's like something shifts in you. You feel like, I've done this, I've accomplished this. I already feel like I'm the person that can accomplish the goal. And you just have this expectation that it's going to work out, which is what we need to have. We have this belief system that it's going to all work. And so we got excited. I think this is the way that you write out your goals. But further research and study on the number 70 and 7 and 490 is super interesting. You can just research and go online and look up the significance of number 7, and you're going to find a ton of research as to why this is so powerful. It is the number of completeness and perfection and wholeness. In all religions, in all countries throughout the ages, they've all placed a high level of significance on this number, and it all resonates the same way with everybody. In the Bible, there are so many texts that talks about, 7 as, 7 times that the Israelites had to walk around the walls of Jericho to cause them to crumble down. We're talking about breaking barriers to get into what we're supposed to be doing. We're talking about how Naaman, the general, had to dip in the river 7 times to be cleansed. There's 7 days in a week. There's 7 candles in a menorah. There is 7 ancient wonders of the world. There's, the lucky number is 777. The 7 compartments of the heart. We resonate with the number 7 greater than any other number. So if we're going to write something down, why not 7 times a day for 70 days? But the number 490 is also super interesting because it is the trial period that releases you from bondage. Because in the Bible, the text was that the Israelites went into bondage, let's just say an old idea, an old paradigm, and they were held into bondage for 490 years before they were released into the promised land. And do you know that that's significant for a reason? Why? Because if you use 490 reps to change your habit pattern, you can break free from an old paradigm. So the more that you research the number 490, the more that you research, and there's so much more information in the book, but there's a reason for those numbers, and we just use them for our benefit to connect energetically with our goal. That's the missing link. So why not use it to our benefit? So what you do, and I'm going to give you the 3 steps to the 490 transformation on podcast number 1, and that is writing out your goal 7 times a day for 70 days. Super simple. All you need is a notepad and paper, and you can literally reprogram your brain. But when you write down your goal, you always use gratitude, because that shifts you from a negative environment to a positive environment the fastest. This is key. I am so happy and grateful now that I am this. Whatever the goal is, spiritual, physical, financial, there's all areas of our life that we want to improve, and we got to connect to its energy. And then you use the second step, which is so powerful. That's using the most marvelous, miraculous, inconceivably powerful force that we've ever known to our benefit. It's called our imagination. We use our imagination to visualize our life as if it's already happened. You visualize the goal accomplished, and it only takes a few minutes a day. They say that 1 hour of visualization is more powerful and effective than 8 hours of work. That's incredible. But we use just a few moments, 7 minutes a day. You can set a timer and visualize your goals if it's already accomplished. This is to your benefit. You're in creation mode when you do this. You act, speak, think, and believe as if it has already happened. It's a done deal. And then you do the third thing, which is really important. We need to change our self-image. And the only way to do that is through an action step that I call mirror work or auto-suggestion. You get in front of the mirror every single day. In fact, Mel Robbins has a really good book called The High Five Habit. And that's getting in front of the mirror and giving yourself love and encouragement and giving yourself a high five and get on with the day. It's very, very similar to that, but it's actually rooted in a process much older than Mel Robbins' book. And that is Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich. It was only written because he did that practice in front of the mirror. He went to Andrew Carnegie, and Andrew Carnegie wanted him to write the laws of achievement. You're like, I want you to figure out why people are so successful, write about it in a book. And you're going to also surpass my accomplishments in life. And Napoleon Hill said, there's no way that's going to happen. He's like, well, you got to commit to this process if you're going to write this book. So what I want you to do for 30 days is get in front of the mirror and say, Andrew Carnegie, not only am I going to equal your achievements in life, but I'm going to meet you at the post and pass you at the grandstand. And he had to say that to himself for 30 days. And you know what was interesting, he said, is that after about the 15th day, I felt like, can I accomplish this? I mean, put this into perspective. This is like going and saying you're going to surpass Elon Musk in his accomplishments. Pretty daunting task. Halfway through the month, he started to think, can I do it? By the end of the 30 days, he knew he was going to do it. There's something that happens when you take responsibility, get in front of the mirror, and you be the one in the driver's seat of encouragement. We start to change how we view ourselves. We no longer expect other people to give us the encouragement that we're seeking. We decide that we're going to be the one to do that. And when we do that, all of a sudden the expectations of what everybody else should be doing stop. And the interesting thing was what happens is that we also, because we're on the energy of encouraging ourselves, we probably find that more people will encourage us. But we're changing our self-image. The 3 components: writing down your goal with the spiritual number of completion and perfection and wholeness 490 times. And then you visualize it for that 70 days. And then you just get in front of the mirror. This will rewire your brain in ways that shift you into a whole different level, a different environment, a different frequency. You will start matching the frequency of the good that you desire. You will get ideas to take action on. A lot of times that we don't start something in our life, we don't attempt something because we don't know how. You don't have to know how. You just have to know what you want. And when you connect with it, the ideas that you need to take action on will come to you. You take action on the ideas, you hold true to it, and eventually you will accomplish the goal. Sometimes it happens within 70 days or less. It just depends on the goal because every goal has a gestation period. We don't know exactly what it was. For us, it took us 3 or 4 years after writing out that we were going to be at the top of the company before we hit the top of the company. But it was a pretty big goal. We accomplished it just like you can accomplish any goal. So there, you have to know that there's a gestation period and you got to be willing to hang true to this. You never lose sight of your vision, your goal of what you want. If it's a smaller goal, then chances are you'll probably just accomplish it in a shorter time frame, which is totally cool. But decide what you want. Decide how you would like your life to be different and plug in the 490 formula. It's going to be available in a free download. Just how to write out your goals, the formula, a few tips on it. I'm also releasing it in my book that's coming out very soon. My goal is to help people win, to help people discover a deeper part of who we are. Because what I've realized in the personal development world, it is not about developing yourself primarily. What it's really about is using goals to remove the layers of everything that you were never supposed to be in the first place. You were designed for something so unique and so special, and I believe the world needs what you have inside. But we have to start using goals to reveal that to us. And when we fully step into the process, we use a formula that works, we can start changing our life and ultimately changing the world. So why not commit to the process? You could be only 490 reps away from a totally different life. So hang with me on these episodes. I'm here to provide insights and information, bring guests on here that share life-changing information that will change the world if it's properly applied. So I appreciate your time. Thank you so much, and I'll see you on the next episode.